Well, good afternoon. I am going to follow up on some of what Rob was talking about, technology and apps, in a minute, and kind of walk you through a little bit of the other app that's available out there. But since we haven't met in person a little bit, and I know a lot of you are probably expecting to see Aaron up here, and Aaron is actually away. He's being a superintendent at another park, and has been since July, and will probably continue to be there for a little while. So I'm filling in as acting superintendent. I'm typically the deputy superintendent of the office, and most of you met this morning Jill Jensen, our lead planner, that's joined me here. So yeah, I just wanted to do just a very quick rundown of our office, our role with the trail and with the Trail Association, and then, like I said, dive into some particular projects and the National Park Service app. So of course, we're the co-administrator of the Old Spanish National Historic Trail with the BLM, so we work very closely with Rob. Several of you asked, where did we come from, where do we live, where do we work? So typically, most of us are based in Santa Fe. That's where Jill and I both came from. We have a small satellite office in Salt Lake City and a small satellite office in Albuquerque. There's about 20 of us as far as full-time employees. Just like Rob, we also have some interns. I think we have 5 of them in our office right now. But generally our staff is really focused on cultural resources, GIS, interpretation, landscape architecture, outdoor recreation planning, and history. So we have kind of a broad range of expertise in the office that we lend to the National Historic Trail. So one of the things that we do as trail administrators is we do provide funding to the association, and that funding provides a significant chunk of the association's annual operating funds. You can see the dollar amount that we provided this year, $101,653. And that's for 1 year. So that just started in September, will end again in next September. So funding association operations, so that does fund your great manager, Lynn. It funds travel support for some of you to come here, publications, supplies, websites, promotion and training, and this year some additional funding for your 20th anniversary activities. That funding, because it's what's called an agreement, does require that we have some substantial involvement with your organization. So that's just a little background, and I do actually now want to dive into the other app. And I don't know how many of you downloaded the National Park Service app. So to be clear, yes, there are 2 apps. Okay, there's the one that Rob just took you through, and you saw it was very sort of kind of site specific, right? You get on site, this is where I can walk, these are the features I can see along the walk, right? There's some bathrooms here, there's a viewpoint here. So really excellent resource for once you're there and once you're on site. Rob has used the term as places to go app as a way to describe the National Park Service app, because it does have kind of a different function. And I would really encourage you, if you haven't already, to download that one as well. So because it has the name National Park Service, that's all it's called, right? So you can find this on the App Store, Play Store, wherever you get your apps. Just search National Park Service, or even just search NPS app. It's just called National Park Service, nothing else. So you can find it, you can download it. It takes about 2 minutes to download. And then once you get there, you can search where it says find a park there. This is the National Park Service app for the entire National Park Service. So when this was first being developed, it was just going to be for the parks. And there's 400 and some different parks within the National Park Service, or historic sites, that kind of thing. We convinced them that the National Historic Trails ought to be part of it. So we're getting a tremendous amount of attention because the trails are included in with all the national parks. So folks that are going to Yellowstone are using this. Folks that are going to Grand Canyon are using this. Folks that are coming here to event planning are using this. So there's a huge number of people that are already using this app that's pretty simple to use, but are stumbling across cool sites to see on the Old Spanish Trail. So once you have it, I want to show you some examples. I did not realize that you could do the cool thing that Rob did, which is to plug your iPad in and it would talk to the projector. So I'm not prepared to do that. Okay? So instead, I apologize. I'm going to show you some screenshots, but I do have the app on my iPad here, so I would love to answer any questions and help you through with it after this presentation of the meeting. So, and I have to keep remembering that I have to forward on the screen and on my screen. So this is kind of what, once you search for the Old Spanish Trail, this is what it would look like. So there's a little things to do, and currently, again, right now, this is one of those places that you can all help us. What are some other places, things to do along the Old Spanish Trail that we could really highlight? And working with you, we'd like to have a larger list of things that we have listed there right now. We also can see here that it says trail sites to visit in each of the 6 states. So we're going to just take a little journey into one of those states right now, just to give you an example. So here, if you selected trail sites to visit in Utah, you would see a map. So you can use the map function, and all those little green pins, those are all the places that you could potentially go to visit on the Old Spanish Trail. Or you can look at a list. You can do it either way. Okay? So in this case, I'm going to pick that very first one there, the Richfield Visitor Center, and we're going to zoom in to that Richfield Visitor Center. We do, that's the screen we get. So just like Rob's examples there, we see the photo of what that site looks like. You get some information there, and I'll show you a little bit more on that in a second. If you click that read more, it opens all the way up to a whole lot more information. But you also have that map. That is GPS enabled, so whatever map device you like, Google or you like Apple Maps, whatever it is you like to use, you can click on that, and from wherever you're at, it'll navigate you to that site. So it's a way to find these sites. So again, I clicked on the for more information underneath there where it says read more under Richfield Visitor Center. And I get a whole lot more information there, including some safety considerations, more site information, a link to the Old Spanish National Historic Trail website. So this actually will take you to, one of these links will take you to, right to the Visitor Center's own homepage, right? So you can get information directly from the site by linking to this. So let's take a look at maybe another example. And this will be one that Rob just mentioned. So here's Upper Cottonwood Wash, right? So one of the things as co-administrators that we've been doing together is designing a lot of the interpretation and orientation for various sites, right? And Rob's intern's been doing a lot of work. We've been doing a lot of training for those interns, and then we're working together to kind of create this content that's going on our websites and on our apps. So the language that you see here for Upper Cottonwood Wash, the description of the site and the hike is exactly the same as the language that Rob read out loud. And it gets even more detailed. Again, you can really read into the details of what that hike is. So there's a potential to share a lot of information. We're at kind of the infancy stage, just like Rob is with these apps, that there's a tremendous amount of additional information and sites that we could add to this. Looking for some input from all of you. So one of the things, again, we do get asked sometimes is, what can we do? How can we participate? And this app is one of those ways. You can take a look at this app and review the sites that are in your area. Take a look at it. See whether the sites around where you live are accurate. See if you use that GPS mapping, does it actually take you to the site? Right? If it doesn't, let us know. We can correct it. That's the cool thing about digital. It can be corrected very, very quickly. So, and we are able to correct those things right behind the scenes. You don't have to take it down or anything. It's just, you can just correct it. So if we're missing sites, you can let us know. We actually have a little form you can fill out to help us add additional sites to the app. So reach out to us and we'll send it to you.
Email you or?
You can email me, you can email Jill, you can email any of us. We'll get you the right person that will send you the form. Yep. Hey, so that's the app. And so there are definitely, I would just really encourage you, if you haven't downloaded both of them, check both of them out because they do have very, very different purposes, and I think they're going to help the public out in two very different ways. So at this point, I actually just wanted to share a couple other examples of projects that we are working on in ways that we're trying to share the trail with the public. And of course, our goal always is to get people out and actually on the trail. We also know there's a lot of people that can never do that, either financially, physically, whatever the reason is, but we still want to engage with those folks. So one of the things that we're doing is designing a series of short little videos to help highlight sites. So I wanted to just share with you an example of one video we did. We actually paid a contractor to drive around the United States and to video and collect audio samples from sites all along the National Historic Trail. So several hundred sites. And what they did was they provided us with a library of audio and visual material that we can then use to create videos, to highlight sites, and to give people information about where they can go and what they can see. So this is just one of the first examples that I wanted to share with you here today, is one that we've done for this little section that you could hike here near China Ranch in Tacoma on the Amargosa. Moving on to another project here that we've been working on for some time. So the interpretation projects are both digitally and actual. The digital projects, the app, the website, the publications, the interpretive waysides, those are all handled by our interpretation team. We have another team, which is our design and development team, made up of landscape architects and outdoor planners. And those folks, along with some interpretive specialists, held a community meeting in the San Luis Valley area in November of 2019. And if everybody remembers what happened just a few months after that, the world kind of changed. We also lost Kristen Van Fleet, who was one of our landscape architects and was involved in that meeting. Just a little while later, she moved on to another job. So we did have some delays in getting this done, but we do have now, we have the San Luis Valley Old Spanish National Historic Trail envisioning document. So whoever is from that area, if you want to take a look at it, I'm happy to share it with you. It still has the word draft on it simply because I want to give it one last read through before we share it out. So I'll do that in the next couple of weeks and then we'll have that done. I just wanted to share a little bit of the content that's in here. So we have an introduction to the process and the workshop location. We have a design and interpretation process description of everything that we go through in designing media and site design for a site. And then we go down, we have a huge amount of examples and ideas for interpretation for the San Luis Valley. And then we go county by county. And we have maps, existing and proposed elements, overview maps, detail maps, and proposed elements for every single county in San Luis. We have a section on implementation and next steps, including signing and interpretation and site design, as well as a series of appendices. So we're very excited and happy to have this ready to share with folks and hopefully to actually see some of this get implemented on the ground. Moving on, just to give you kind of another example of something some of our other teams work on. So we do have a history team, and just as one example, they recently worked with author Stacy Desca, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her last name correctly, just to discuss Old Spanish trail history and Hispanic heritage. And this article was published online in Travel and Leisure in late September. And it's a pretty cool article. Got a lot of attention to the trail. And the other thing that the history team is responsible for and working on is a series of potential certified sites. I think we have a request for 5 different certificates. And then our cultural resources team. So one of the biggest projects we're working on right now, besides just the constant barrage of solar and renewable energy projects that we're coming in and responding to, particularly on public land, one of the larger projects is actually the Grand Staircase Escalante resource management plan, which is being redone. It's being revised. It's necessary because of the change in administrations. Previous administration reduced and broke apart that monument. The current administration is extending the boundaries out again, which requires a change to the management plan. So we are actively involved in that process, as well as a series of other local national parks. So just as kind of a summary, and I'm happy to go through and share with you the app and talk through any questions and walk through that with you. If you have any questions, you can go to our Old Spanish National Historic Trail webpage and simply click Contact Us at the bottom of it. We do answer that email, so that will get sent to somebody and responded to. So again, just our primary activities on the trail are road, site, or pedestrian signing, site design, site protection and preservation, site certification, partnership certification, mapping and GIS data services, and digital and on-the-ground media. So thanks very much for having us here today, and please let us know if you have any questions.